thread around leaders and conversations, and I'm looking forward to today. What is the leader's place? Ooh, what is the leadership place?
Where does it live in the organization? And I got a hunch. Yeah, most people that are asked that question, they go, "Well, okay, let me get the org chart out."
I was going to grab. Yeah, I was going to. Yeah, it's here. It's up here.
It's up here. The top level. We got a pyramid here. This is the structure of our organization.
There's a colloquialism. They're in the ivory tower.
That's where the leaders live.
They live there. They do. We've never been there.
Yeah. But you notice this title, it's not about the leader's place. It's about leadership's place.
Correct.
So
love that.
That's where we're headed today. Leadership's place in the organization.
Yeah.
So this is going to get interesting, I think. At least it was interesting to me when we put it together. So we'll see what happens. So this is we're in the high 80s in these episodes now, and this is not a temperature check. It's just we got a lot of these episodes, and these episodes have all been organized around the topic of leadership. Because it's not as clean cut as a lot of people would like you to think that it is. It's a really nuanced art form. There's a science to it, but it's really an art to be effective with this.
That is true. I love that. It is not as clean cut as you might think it might be.
Yeah. So just kind of jumping into the deep end of the pool here. In generic terms here, this is from a leader perspective. And this goes back into the notion of where does leadership live in the organization? It lives in places that leaders will put it. I'll kind of put it in that language. So a couple of the big, and these are not comprehensive at all. They're not intended to be exhaustive, but there are 4 key mistakes that typically will show up over and over and over again. One of them, and this is the primary one in many cases, it's a leader thinking that a leader's ability to lead is dependent on their title or position in the organization. I am a leader because I have this title. You will be a leader when you get this title. Boy.
Yeah. Many conversations in my career with individuals. If only I
was. Mm-hmm. Then I could. Yeah.
If only I was, then I could, or I would. And you should make me that.
Yep.
Because if you do, I'll do more.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is people begin to identify with that. My identity is wrapped up in my title.
Yes.
And these titles are we just made this shit up. It's kind of like and what's interesting about making this shit up is when people start creating organizations, by almost default they want to put hierarchy in the organizations.
Right.
And who's in control here? Who's in command?
Right.
And let's give that person a title. Oh, they're the chief. They're
and they get it. They get it. The other one too is I love bullet number 2, not educating all employees in leadership development. Because there's a lot of God, given how many times I heard it, Blaine, that's a soft skill, leadership development. They don't need to lead.
Yeah, they're on the assembly line. Yeah, I will lead. They're on the assembly line.
I will lead. They need to do.
Yep. And we will not mix church and state here.
Why do I need so many leaders?
It'll just cause confusion.
Yeah, I got me. That's enough. Should be plenty. Should be good to go.
Yeah, which kind of drops into number 3 here, not listening to what we call subordinate people in the organization, those that report to us. Why would I listen to them? I'm the boss. Now, this is becoming less and less of an issue, but it's still a huge blind spot for many, particularly late people, and I say late people in their late 40s on up.
Right.
Who were brought up and through a traditional leadership mindset.
Yeah.
To your point, those are the doers. We're the idea. We create ideas here. They're
Yeah.
going to go implement it.
Yeah. I love that last bullet around it. Just to paraphrase it simply in one word, ego.
Yep.
Ego.
Ego. Yeah.
I own it. It's all
That's
me.
I am the title.
I am
The,
the title. Exactly. I
the
am the
title is
title.
me.
And because
Yeah.
I am the title, I am not going to sacrifice any of the title because my ego will not allow me to do that.
Yep. Because if they start pushing back on me and start questioning my authority that's invested in me by my title, what am I left with?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because there are some symptoms that come along with each one of these that are pretty easy to kind of identify.
Yeah.
And if we go back up to number one up here, thinking a leader's ability to lead is dependent on their title or position, you end
Right.
up with problems are escalated up the chain of command.
Yeah.
Okay. And you just, well, I don't have the power to decide that. That's not my job here, which goes into the other one. But we start escalating up the chain of command. Who's got the authority to make this decision?
Yeah. I just love that. It's just that. And you built that, by the way. Your ego built that.
Yep.
You did. The other one, number two, it's not my job, is being said more frequently. That is that, and that's what that egoic nature, right? I'm going to build this hierarchy. I'm going to go do there. The natural thing through that gravity once again, gravitational push is we build silos.
Yeah. And silos are what we end up with. And this is when you think about where organizations start getting, particularly in today's environment where change is going on so rapidly, you
Right.
can't afford to have silos in place. And silos exist everywhere. And a large part of it has to do with that point. And the second point here, treating subordinates as simply execution cogs in a bigger wheel. You've got a place, and I want you to stay in your place. And you've got I know that you think you know something about what we're doing, but trust me, I know best.
Yeah. Yeah. And then number four, it's interesting, Lynn, when we talk about the symptoms, because these symptoms permeate through the organization, right?
Yes.
And one of I remember conversations as a leader of people, have someone come sit in my room and talk about being disrespected. They don't respect my title.
Mm-hmm.
If they respected my title, they would just do what I asked. And rather than
Without question.
rather than allowing for that moment of conversation and curiosity, and I'm being challenged. When I'm challenged, it's because you're disrespecting the fact that I'm a vice president. Your job is not to ask. Your job is but to do or die.
Command and control.
Yep.
Which, when we're looking at the leadership, and Dolan and I have been doing this for a long time. Leaders are today, you can't afford to be a command and control leader. It just isn't going to work.
Oh no, you can't get. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is more about how do you influence movement rather than how do you command movement.
You can't get there from here. Right.
Yep. Yeah. Especially with 5 generations in the workforce. I mean, we've got a real hodgepodge. It's a real interesting mix. And one size will not fit all. And if the only size that you've got is command and control.
That's a really important point. And it's multiple forms of influence.
Bingo. So I love this quote. Benjamin Disraeli, who is Israeli prime minister. I must follow the people. Am I not their leader? Now, I want you to just pause for a moment and think about this quote. Yeah, I must follow the people. Am I not their leader?
Right.
Yeah. This, an old mentor of mine years ago, Frederick Hudson, who founded the Fielding Institute in Santa Barbara, and also co-founded the Hudson Institute for Coaching.
Yes.
in Santa Barbara, also in Santa Barbara, and was instrumental in the development of the ICF, the International Coaching Federation. He and I would get into these little conversations around his particular bias, which for coaching, which was a highly effective, skilled coach will lead from behind. And the first time I heard that was, Frederick, what are you talking about? Lead from behind.
Yeah.
And his whole point was, if you give people enough information and enough education, they will tap into something that's important to them and to the organization by default. Now, my role as a coach in this particular scenario was to be able to lead from behind by encouraging them to pay attention to that inner light, that inspirational move, but also identify what's in the way, what's going to be blocking them. So, bringing their conversations back into light, reflecting back to them. So leading from behind rather than leading in the front. I must follow my people. Am I not their leader?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. One of my favorite things I used to tell my team all the time is the only time I'm going to lead up front is if I am acting explicitly and exclusively as a point man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm exploring a new territory. And what you're hoping is that when I get shot, it's a low caliber slug. So there you go.
Yep.
It doesn't go all the way through me. So, which is another technical term. Sometimes we'll explain that term, what a low caliber slug is. So
perfect.
Yes.
So here's a simple, those of you that are new to this particular Power of You structure, we've got a leadership model that we've worked with for years. Leadership is the activity, first of all, the definition of influencing others. Notice influencing, not command and control, influencing, state of being. How do I show up? What kind of movement do I cause before I open my mouth?
Right.
Influencing other people in order to co-create coordinated movement in pursuit of a worthy ideal. And that worthy ideal isn't the vision. It's not the goals. It's what matters. What matters to the individual? What matters to my people? What matters to me? What matters to my team? What matters to my organization? That what matters question can be expansive. But the key here is it's not motivational. It's inspirational. And that's what we want to play with. And leadership as an activity becomes the bridge between who we are and what we create together. That's that bridge. And this definition is part of the structure of that bridge, because you land into this leadership universe, and the way that it's structured, most people will pay attention to vision, strategy, and tactics, which is the why, the what, and the how.
Yeah.
Where we work is on this mindset piece, and this is why the bridge comes into play. What's the mindset? What's the way that people are viewing things? Because how they view it determines what's real for them, their reality. And you want to be able to introduce possibilities, which is where aliveness comes in.
Yeah.
And the way all of that happens is through awareness.
Love that. Just love that. And inspiration. Before you leave this slide, shameless plug. This is a blue slide. Where you see a blue slide, this is directly from our mastermind.
Exactly.
We spend a year talking about this across 5 domains in a model called the ACT model, which we won't get into here. But we spend a year on this topic. And the Power of You, we pull this out from the mastermind specifically because of the importance of what we're talking about here. This matters. I can get off my pulpit now. Other than this matters. That's an important slide.
So, interesting when I think about the leadership universe, which is the label we have on this slide.
Yeah.
Where does leadership live? What's leadership's place?
Where is it?
Where is it? It's everywhere in this slide.
What?
So, if you think of this as a pyramidal structure of your organization, this is a map of your organization structure. You got the titled roles in each of these layers. You got the president, CEO, the executive team. You've got the management group. You've got right down to the worker bees. Leadership exists in all of these strata. It has to exist in all of these strata. This definition, influencing others. On the machine floor, in the barista, in the coffee shop. influencing others to co-create coordinated movement in pursuit of a worthy ideal. That has to live everywhere in the organization, that notion,
Yeah.
because everybody's always causing movement.
Good point. Such a good point.
Everybody is doing it. Not everybody knows how to do it well.
Yep. That's
What
true.
we want to pay attention to.
That is true.
So here's
There it is. Right there.
It is. So a couple of ways to think about this. When you look at leadership in the reframing the mindset.
Yeah.
This is some data that has just been recently published. Middle management in most organizations is being erased. And I say most organizations. Here I'm talking primarily mid-size and above.
Yeah.
Because small organizations don't necessarily have a middle management layer. Yeah. But mid-size and above, you start seeing things. AI is replacing a lot of things. And what's interesting here is Gartner predicts 20% of organizations are going to flatten. 20% of all organizations are going to flatten by 2026. And in less than a year. And half of the middle management roles, particularly in mid-size and larger organizations, are going to just disappear.
Yeah.
41% of employees say that their company has cut management layers. Now that's about half of all employees. Middle management is cut. Okay, it's cutting it. 43% say leadership alignment has suffered as a result. And this speaks directly to where does leadership live in an organization? In most organizations, it has lived at the top. Sometimes getting into the middle, but it doesn't go anywhere beyond that. So if you're going to be cutting out that middle anchoring thread, that middle connecting thread, leadership has to live everywhere.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, we see this with our clients that we talk to all the time. This is a consistent point of conversation.
Yeah, and DDI, which is a research firm, they do surveys and whatnot. Trust in the immediate managers is down to 29%, which is now this is fascinating, a 37% decline in just the last 3 years. 37% decline. The trust in immediate management has gone down. That is a condemnation of the way that leaders are actually functioning in the systems that they're generating, they're creating, and they're trying to get work done through.
Right.
So if you put that in the context of productivity and you start putting an ROI to it, this is an enormously expensive proposition.
Yeah.
And it leads literally down to that last point. Can flat organizations scale without hollowing out their leadership pipeline? So if you take that middle management layer out without replacing it with an educational process that begins to bring awareness to what does it mean to be a leader to everybody in the organization, your ability to scale is going to be literally it's going to disappear. One
of my favorite. I was quoting some statistics yesterday in a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about the fact that there's a hard reality. And sorry, leaders, we're going to digress for a moment. There's a hard reality around AI. The hard reality of AI is 100% of all companies are implementing AI. They either are thinking, doing, or have done. Of those that have done it, they've doubled their technology budgets, and they've actually created, like SMBs are spending, a lot of SMBs, and that's a company that's $50 million or less in revenue. They're spending up to $1 million implementing AI. Of all of those organizations, and that's if there's statistics around that, points where it comes from, but of all of those organizations, none have modified their leadership development process. It's still whatever percentage of the budget it was before, under the illusion that because we're building AI, data will take us to the promised land.
Nope.
Which we talk about right here. I love which such a good topic. Where does
Well,
leadership
basically,
live?
this is the challenge. I mean, it just speaks directly to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. And so the challenge, right? The research, over 20 million employee responses across 10 years found in 2025, the traditional engagement drivers, right? Belonging and feeling. We talk about this all the time. We go back to the leadership universe.
Yeah,
right?
emotional engagement. How do we emotionally engage people?
Right. And there's that. It's as simple as, when we talk about this, going home at the end of the day and feeling valued. When that partner of yours says, or your dog, whoever you've got there, says, "How was your day, honey?" To be able to respond in a feeling of value and not a feeling of frustration.
Yeah.
And love that. Drop to the bottom line of this. While stability and the leader's ability to navigate uncertainty rose to the top.
Yeah.
It's such a
Boy, that's a big flip.
Yeah. It flips it. And that's why the challenge leaders is the framing question. I'm going to read it to you. The framing question employees are reportedly asking now is blunt. Will this company exist in 3 years? And will I have a place in it? Not a job. Do I have a place?
Yeah. Now, you couple this last piece here with a very interesting statistic about Gen Z and
Oh, yeah.
younger. The average job tenure is a little bit less than 3 years right now. Yeah,
Yes.
they are job hopping, and a large part of it is driven, according to this emerging data, not so much because they don't feel they belong and are feeling valued, although that is still a part of it, but more importantly, the leadership function, stability, and the leader's ability to navigate uncertainty isn't present. So they've got questions about this literal piece here. Is the company still going to be around in 3 years? Am I going to have a place in it?
Right.
That is a question that's born out of a lack of leadership, effective leadership in the organization as defined by creating an experience of stability, creating in the face of uncertainty, and how do I navigate uncertainty?
Yeah. I love that, because where these individuals are, the largest portion of the workforce, where these individuals are is they're at the climb mountains phase.
Yep.
They're climbing mountains. And you touched on something really important. It's money matters, but it is not about money.
Yep.
In prior generations, in the boomers, and then, not to say how old we are, but in our generation, money played a role. But that whole concept now has shifted. It is about belong. Well, do I have a place in this? Will we exist? And is of my place of value? I love that.
Yeah.
That's the art and nuance of leadership.
So part of the mindset is as we begin looking through the lens of this data. Yeah. Part of the mindset shift is this one. I can actually value somebody deeply while challenging their behavior directly. That's a leadership move. So I want to, the leadership mindset, the way we're positioning this is the mindset that needs to exist throughout the organization. This is the mindset of leadership throughout the organization, top to bottom. Yeah. Can I value somebody deeply while challenging their behavior directly? So how do I say no to my vice president, as an example, in a way that doesn't get my head handed to me on a platter? Yeah. Can I value somebody? So valuing comes into play here. Yeah. If an issue keeps returning, people don't understand leadership. Leadership is about causing effective movement, influencing in order to co-create. Go ahead.
Yeah. Love to that's your job as a leader, is to create discomfort. We're going to move, because not moving is very comfortable. I could be very happy with that. Very comfortable not to move. Avoiding discomfort today, there you go, creates a greater pain for tomorrow. So leaders, as we think about that movement, it is that discomfort that you're working towards in creating conflict. Conflict in and unto itself is a good thing when used properly. And by the way, there's powers of you that we talk about conflict. So in the library, which is, we'll give another shameless plug at the very end on how to get it. So there you go.
So at the end of the day, from the mindset of leadership throughout the organization, again, this isn't just a titled position. This is an activity that is present day to day at every level in the organization, exhibited by and demonstrated by every person in the organization. They understand that their responsibility is not to keep everybody comfortable. It's literally to help people grow. And I don't care if they're pulling a shot of coffee and as a barista in the coffee shop, or whether they're on an assembly line in a manufacturing plant. Makes no difference in terms of what they're doing. The mindset is, how do I help people grow? How do the people next to me? How do I help my manager grow?
Right.
That growth dynamic is absolutely a crucial element to effective leadership. How are we growing? And in service of what? That worthy ideal.
Right.
Yeah. So, how do you act?
Slide. Okay, so we've talked about all this stuff. Now, what the heck do you do with it?
And what do you do with it?
So I love this.
Go ahead.
I love this. Yeah. This is and leaders, this is a tough. I love this first bullet. When I was reading these and kind of thinking through these in my mind, in the act of hiring, ensure that leadership is understood. It's a prerequisite for employment. Well, what does it mean? There's a duality to that statement. Ensure leadership is understood, which is the culture of leadership in the organization and the culture and in that individual's culture for leadership, for employment. So your role as that leader is to have that conversation with that person coming in. Ensure that leadership is understood as a prerequisite for employment. You must be able to lead yourself. And how do you do that? And a lot of times the conversation, I just love that bullet. Just love that bullet. Which is a lot of times that conversation is all about the do.
Yep.
Do you know Asana? Do you know Excel? Do you know how? Can you code? Can you? How you lead yourself through that is critically important. And how do you collaborate with other leaders and explore that duality?
Because again, go back to the definition: influencing others in order to co-create coordinated movement. Those elements have to be in place and understood in terms of how they're in place throughout the organization. So that second line there, bringing attention to valued leadership traits at all levels of the organization. Every organization is going to be a little bit different. So behaviorally, what leadership traits are going to be kind of rising to the top in your organization, in your team, in your department or division? Bringing attention to what's valued from a leadership perspective. One size doesn't fit all. We've got a definition that's pretty encompassing, but within that definition, there's a lot of wiggle room in terms of how you actually deploy it and work with it.
We take the 5 parts of that. Yes, I can't even. Boy, it's like stars in the sky. But anyway, there's a lot in there. It could be a lot, but it provides leadership development. And one of the things that leaders do always remember, there was a gentleman I worked for way early in my career. Your job as a leader is to teach someone to replace you.
Yep.
Simplest sentence I ever heard about leadership development. Your job is to teach them how to replace you, which means all of the skills, all of the knowledge, all of the stuff, everything that goes into it is that opportunity. And then it's up to their desire. You can't, drive a square peg into a round hole. But your job is to provide those opportunities to your team, to your employees, those who are part of your organization. And the ROI for that third bullet is scale.
Yep. That's how you scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Yeah, in the midst of doing that, you're going to have a lot of people scratching their heads. So, how do you encourage the use of questions in order to forward the movement? Because the default is and this is why things get escalated up the chain of command here because people are looking for answers. I'm not interested in the answers necessarily. I'm more interested in the quality of the question that are being asked. So
Yeah,
encourage the use of questions. Questions will cause movement. Questions are directional. What
yeah,
are we paying attention to? So
yeah,
you want to encourage high quality questions, being generated in the body of the organizations that you're actually shepherding, that you have responsibility for. Because it's
yeah.
in those questions that you begin to get a sense of what's the reality that people are dealing with. What's the
Right,
reality that they're actually wrestling with?
right. And I
Where
just had an old man bubble pop moment. There is that the quality of the outcome is determined by the quality of the questions asked. And there's a statement around it. We'll find it. I'll put it in the comment, and you guys will see it. There you go.
There we go.
I
Good.
can't remember it. So why this
So
matters, doctor?
all that matters, you can't effectively scale without leaders at all levels forging the way. I mean, it's as simple
Yeah,
as that. If this whole slide was summarized with one sentence, that's the sentence. You can't effectively scale your organization without leaders at all levels forging the way. Leaders acting as leaders, leadership existing in the body of the system.
yeah. Love that. And then burnout's the result of loss of connection to worthy ideal. When people don't connect to that worthy ideal, they cook.
Yep.
When they cook, they apathy, which means they're ripped, right? They're retired in place. So now there's apathy. Now innovation stalls. And when innovation stalls, growth stalls, scaling stalls, and they quit and they quietly quit, just very quietly.
Yeah.
And then you got a team of prairie dogs, which
There
is
you do.
yeah.
Looking around.
Did I hear my name? Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. Duck.
I go back to my work.
A large part of what's going on today, the flattening of the organizations and everything that we talked about earlier, is a consequence of AI. Yeah, and the illusion is AI is going to make things. It's the promised land that we're going to be doing. Yeah, that we're going to be navigating as our organization becomes populated by agents,
Mhm.
not people but agents. Um, Recent MIT study: 95% of corporate AI initiatives actually failed to show any kind of profit impact. It actually did not live up to what it was touted to produce, or it hasn't yet. And 18% of US employees already believe their jobs will be eliminated by AI within 5 years. And that's higher where AI is already implemented. And it's about 32% in finance and insurance industries where there's a lot of rote work that gets done. But the key here is
Yeah.
it's not producing what it's promised to produce. And there's some data now that's beginning to show up that some of these large companies are hiring people back
Yes.
uh, to serve as the interface with the agents that they've already deployed. So there's a human factor that comes into play here. So that requires leadership to navigate that, both the return, but also how do I interface with this AI, agentic AI that is doing a lot of what I used to do. So
Yeah.
all of this I mean, it's a fascinating. May you live in interesting times. Is the old Chinese curse? It's interesting times, and there's all
You
kinds of
do.
opportunities that are present. But in order to capitalize on them, you have to have a leadership function that actually allows for leveraging that worthy ideal and
Yeah.
connecting to it.
Yeah. Just love that. It is an interesting time to see companies rebounding with humans, which is fascinating in and unto itself. And then
Mhm.
leadership pipeline. 6% of Gen Z's what basically what they're saying is, look, I don't want that job because I've seen people in that job mid-layer. I've seen people that are managers move into directors become disposable. That job now is disposable because we can put in an AI layer that removes that job. There still has to be somebody to drive the forklift. You know what? I'm going to drive the forklift.
Yep.
I don't
Don't
want to
bother
manage
me.
forklift drivers. I'm just going to drive the forklift.
That's not my job.
Not my job, because now there's an AI thing that says, here's all the stats that we need. I don't need people from that. I get my assignments. There's no need for a human interaction. So therefore, I'm going to stay where I'm at. I'm just going to do it.
Which does not tap into the creative force of that individual that is opted out
Nope.
of, because, and this is interesting, they opted out because the title was what was being paid attention to, that role position.
Right.
They're opting out of leadership positions because of the positioning, the geographic positioning of that activity. Leadership has to exist throughout. If they're going to opt out, hey, go ahead, opt out. But do you know what it means to be a leader? Do you know what it means to actually exhibit leadership as a forklift driver?
Right.
Keeping what we're doing connected to that worthy ideal. Yeah, I mean, all of the things that kind of come into this, you're influencing whether you're on the forklift chair or whether you're in that titled position.
Or not. Yeah. Yeah. AI can't create trust. It's not a capability of AI. And then the big win, leadership at all levels makes thriving in difficult times a possibility that can become a reality. And the one thing that through all of this, as I was going through it again, was the fact that, I think the important message with this is leadership has to permeate throughout your organization.
Yep.
Everybody's a leader. Everybody
But
leads.
not everybody's effective.
Yeah, everybody leads an outcome.
Yep.
It's how you, as a leader in your organization, whether you're in the ivory tower, we talked about that at the beginning, where you happen to reside, it is how that leadership permeates through the organization and the permission to allow people to be a leader, which heads into other things. We have other powers of use on these topics. There you go.
Speaking
Shameless
of other
plug.
powers of use, we got a whole library of powers of you.
Speaking of shameless plug.
Talk about a segue.
Yeah, that was a good segue. Yeah, so the power of you, we've been doing this for well over a year, and there's 80 plus episodes. Some of them are 6-parters, 12-parters, 2-parts. Some of them are single episodes like this one, of Power of You, but they're all inside of a library. And when Blaine and I started this, we started this with the intention just to come together and talk about leadership topics that we see that are important. We talk about everything from decisions to communication to notice what you're noticing to today. Where does leadership live? And so there's a library, there's a curated library of all of the powers of use. And the way you get to the library is take your phone out and highlight that little QR code right there in the middle of the screen, and it's going to take you to a community called the Solo Business Experience Community. And the Solo Business Community is it's not a free community. It's a marginal expense for the community. It's $249 a year, which averages out to about 3 Starbucks venti coffees a month.
Actually, it's $297.
Yeah, $297. Yeah, sorry. Or you can call me and I'll lend you $50. So, but if that's the case, but inside of the community is curriculum from Blaine, our library of books and reference and resources, the soul of business. All of the episodes are inside of the community with the intention of duality. The first intention is it's a place for you to go to interact with other leaders from all over the world. Currently, it's 15 countries, I think, about that are represented inside the community. The second piece is we really would like you to use the power of use with your teams. They're great for you, and we think it's very important, but please use them for your teams. So pull up an episode of Power You that's pertinent to a challenge you're facing in your organization. You'll probably find that topic in the library, probably. And if not, you can send Blaine and I a note, and we'll cover that topic in a Power of You. But share that with your team and help your team become leaders. It gives you a talking point to have the team watch the Power of You, take 40 minutes, 45 minutes of their time, and then come together to co-create a solution to that challenge that you're facing. that moves you closer to that worthy ideal. And that's what the Solo Business Experience community does. So we invite you to join us in the community. And it's not about hearing from Blaine and I. It's a place to be with other leaders.
Yeah. So it's a curated community in the sense that Dolan and I actually curate the conversation and whatnot, but we don't. It's not us talking. It's a networking community. It's a networking community of like-minded leaders that are interested in growing themselves and growing their businesses. So QR code right there. Take your phone out, snap it, or just type in that URL.
Get
it directly to where you need to go. Do it now. Don't pass go.
But wait, there's more.
So this is the Power Review. Leaders' place. What's the place of leadership in your organization?
I love that conversation. That's such an important thing. Where does leadership live? Everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. They need me everywhere. Take me anywhere. They need me everywhere.
Just take me to dinner. Whatever. Never mind. That's a different conversation. Another Power Review right there.
Okay. We will see you next week on another Power Review. Tune in and see what the topic is. You will be pleasantly surprised, I'm sure, because they're all good. They're all pleasantly surprising.
You'll be surprised or mystified, one or the other.
One or the other. Yeah, and in either case, the conversation will be warranted.
There you go. On that note, Dr. Bartlett.
Dr. White, thank you, sir. See you on the flip-flop.
See everybody next week.